your mobile device, just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And today we're going to celebrate all the dedicated school nurses that are nestled into our schools across the great state. Joining us to do that is Stephanie Coker. She is the president of the Mississippi School Nurses Association. So, hey, Stephanie.
Hey.
Happy School Nurses Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so excited. We get to be on SuperTalk. We're just so excited.
Well, and I think parents should be excited to hear what the great work that their school nurse has done. If they've never had the school nurse call them, consider themselves lucky. But for most of us, I would say, if our students are in a public school system or maybe even a private school system, I'm not sure how that works, they probably have had communication with the school nurse at some time. So throughout the state, Stephanie, how many school nurses does Mississippi have?
And the number, we don't really have a number because the data on that is just a little bit difficult to get because of the way that districts hire their nurses or pay their nurses. It's not anything that has to be reported to MDE. So the only thing that, number that MDE could give you would be those nurses who are grant nurses, who are paid through school nurse intervention grants, those types of programs where the schools have to report. So, unfortunately, all I can tell you is that we have more than what we did 20 years ago, but we still don't have enough. And I hope that is good enough for you.
I would add a number. No, that's a perfect answer. But into focusing on what they do, and they do more than they did 20 years ago, but they also do the same, right, which is love on our babies and make sure that they're well taken care of while they're at school. But when someone asks you, what is the job of a school nurse? Obviously, it's a little bit self-explanatory, but what would you like for folks to know that maybe they don't know about school nurses?
Well, what I think about what Robin Cogan, who is what I call the rock star school nurse, she has a blog. It's called Relentless School Nurse. She's just a mentor of mine, and I just think so much about her. And I believe it was Robin that said, it was years ago, she had written a blog, and she said, school nursing is no longer ice, lice, and Band-Aids. It's, we still have that, we still are dealing with those types of issues, but there's so many, the number of chronically ill students that we're having, that really need us, that, that have just as much of a right to be educated as everybody else. They have got to have that school nurse in the school who can manage their plan of care and, the registered professional nurse who understands holistic care and how that affects education and how to best, provide a plan and help teachers and administrators and parents provide care for those children who are dealing with what used to be adult illnesses. We didn't see type 2 diabetes in children when I first started out. The number of those chronic illnesses because of different things, but it's just the numbers are pretty high. So managing those chronic illnesses, helping children with emotional or mental health struggles or illnesses, trying to figure everything out and make it through the school day, but not just make it, just function to the best of their ability and receive an excellent education. That's what school nurses provide students. And if you don't know your school nurse, I hope you get to know her. And if you don't know her, that means probably you don't have a child who's chronically ill,
And count your blessings, right, Stephanie? Yeah. Yeah, those parents definitely, you're a saving grace, right? Like when they send you off to school knowing that there's a registered nurse there that can help with medication or help monitor symptoms or, and obviously not something that's contagious or could be, of harm to anyone else. It's things like, I'm sure you have students with either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. How important is it for them to have the support of a school nurse?
Well, it's so wonderful you would ask. Now, because I have a student and I've gotten mom's permission and I have her permission. If she was a big talker, she would tell you how important her school nurse has been to her. She's an 8th grade student. Her name is Jenna Winter. Jenna Claire Winter. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the end of her 5th grade year. So it's been about 3 years. She's been with me 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So just right after she was diagnosed, she had to go to a new school, middle school at that, 6th grade, this new diagnosis, life or death situation, And she is blessed to have a wonderful mother, but she is also really understood how important it is to have her school nurse with her during the day to help, just that holistic approach to knowing what she, kind of helping her guide through all of it, just get through all of it, understanding what she needed, what she was going through, and the education. And I have to tell you, now she's a peer educator. She's been a type 1 diabetic for 3 years. She educates. She is my office helper during 5th period, which is the longest period. She offers education to students who are newly diagnosed with diabetes. She provides peer support. She is so impressive. She is she's got soccer tryouts in just a little bit, so we got to hurry up. But she's going to 9th grade next year, so I'm a little sad. But she's the first recipient of the Grenada Middle School Student Health Services Award that she will get in a week or so. Is it Boards Day next week?
I think so.
Yeah. So Jenna's here with me, but she's not going to talk. But I can tell you.
That's okay. Maybe next time. Tell her as she moves on up and she continues to do her advocacy work on behalf of other type 1 diabetics within the school system, I'll have to get her back because that's very important. It's a very scary diagnosis for families and obviously for students, and it's so cool that you have the school nurse there to sort of be your safety net, to also be your guide as you sort of navigate normal life with something that's very uncommon or unnormal or feels unnatural and sort of that way. Stephanie, what led you to this field of being a school nurse as we celebrate all our school nurses today?
Well, I do think it's a calling. I've heard other nurses say that, but I can tell you, I went through a difficult time in middle school, and we had one nurse to the entire school district, and she was just not as accessible as she wanted to be, and as we needed. So there was just just a lot of things going on during that time. So I kind of held on to that thought when that was just in my heart. There were the things that I experienced through middle school, and I really needed a nurse at one time, and it's just she wasn't accessible because she was at another school, and I always remember that. So when I graduated high school and I was trying to think, what do I want to be? I was thinking, well, nursing is wonderful. We're all helpers. Nurses have probably been helpers since they knew what that meant. We're caretakers. So. That's, I just thought, well, I'll do that. And my first thought might not be very ambitious to some, but my first thought was school nursing. How wonderful would that be? You could have a family, raise your family, get to be with children and help children. So that's how it happened in my mind. It was really
Well, I know it's definitely a calling. Obviously, anytime you do work with children, Stephanie, it's definitely a calling. It takes a special individual to do that. But this is just the other piece of that puzzle. I mean, they're at school majority of their day, much out of the year. So knowing that they have that on there. We mentioned the registered nurse, and I think that's important for parents and grandparents to hear that school nurses in Mississippi, they do have their, is it 4 year? Like, what are the requirements of being a school nurse in Mississippi?
Well, to be a school nurse, you have to be a registered nurse. It's preferable to have at least a year of experience in nursing, in registered nursing. Really, the push is, we're lifelong learners. All nurses are. And nurses with, even if they have an associate's degree and not a bachelor's, they're learning. You have to, because healthcare changes, nursing changes, science changes. So we learn new things every day. But with school nursing, you're on your own. You're sometimes on an island. You don't have that doctor that you can call, or you're, a nurse manager that, you can call. So, experience, public health, in my opinion. But definitely 1 year, registered nurse, bachelor's, is really, pushed. We just want to continue to learn. So a bachelor's of science in nursing is great. And, then you have the chance to become nationally certified after you've worked a while in school nursing. You can, just
And go on and make a lifelong career out of it, Stephanie, as you have and so many others of my good friends. Shout out to Jamie Ely, who I know is a school nurse and beloved Good Things listener. But, Stephanie, if folks want to get more information, can they just go to Mississippi School Nurses Association?
They can. They can go to Mississippi School Nurses Association. There should be an email link that they can email us and ask us questions. And before we get off, I asked all the nurses in the state to give me one word, because I'm their voice, and to give me one word that describes school nursing. And I just wanted, would it be okay?
Yeah, say it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number one, if I had to count, love is up there. So you've got people in the school district, it's their job. Nurses, it's our job to
continue our conversation with Stephanie. She's the president of the Mississippi School Nurses Association, and today is National School Nurses Day. And she's collected words from all the school nurses in Mississippi to share with us on this special day. So, Stephanie, you started with love. What were the other ones?
Well, fulfilling. We've got fulfilling, rewarding, ever-changing, all-inclusive, essential. Let me say this one before, because I had this at the top of my list. Invaluable investment. For every $1, just a little bit of information, for every $1 invested in school nursing, there's $2.20 of societal savings. So that's a pretty big number. So definite, invaluable investment. I got that probably 5 times. Essential. Smorgasbord, hugs, purposeful, worthwhile, busy, flexible, optimistic, gratifying, nurturer, calling, trying, challenging, professional, diligent, constant, roller coaster, needed, counselor, valuable. So those are some of them. I hope I didn't leave anybody's out. They're pretty much similar. A lot of the descriptions were similar as far as how they feel about school nursing. One word to describe school nursing. So thank you, nurses.
Absolutely. Thank you, nurses. And thank you, Stephanie, for taking the time today to join us here on Good Things and celebrate all the school nurses across the great state. So if folks want more information, I know that Mississippi School Nurses Association does a great job of keeping people updated. So celebrate your day.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate you. Jamie said such nice things about you, so I wasn't so scared.
That's all lies, but that's okay. Thank you, Stephanie.
Right, thank you so much.
There you go. And if you had never visited your kid's school nurse, then you should. They're great people, and they work really hard, and they see a lot of hard things, and they help kids through some difficult times. And then also they just still get to do the Bobo things that I think we wish as parents we could always be there for, but we're not always there.